Hi, this is Kim with Scholarly Pursuits. This morning, it's a Friday morning. My dad and I are taking a trip to a local car museum, Wagner-Hagans Auto Museum. It's in Columbus, Ohio. It's a private museum, and you can visit it by appointment only. Steve does the tours of the museum. So the car you're seeing now is outside the museum. It's called a Nash. And the reason this was so significant is my dad told me about a song called the Beep Beep song. So when you get a chance, go to YouTube and YouTube the Beep Beep song. It's about a Cadillac and a Nash, and they race each other. It's such a neat song, and I've been actually singing it to myself ever since I heard about it. So my dad, he's walking around the museum with the owner, and he's just looking at the different cars. They have, I don't know exactly how many cars they have. It's not a real large auto museum, but for a private local museum, it's a great experience to just go back in time. They have some military vehicles, if you see on the side there. And also, I think he's a member of the Audubon Society or Society, he said, or something like that. So the owner is really knowledgeable. You'll enjoy your tour as you walk through the museum. If you like all things cars, I learned about some different car features like a curb filler throughout, and you'll see that picture later on. But now I thought it'd be neat to have my dad narrate a little bit from his past again. The subject came up of drag racing. And lo and behold, my dad has some experience with drag racing. So I'll play as much of the clip as I can from our conversation. Thanks.
To compete and be dominant on a drag strip. And this car's racing name was Gone. And Gone was written on the side of it because it was a Mopar, a Dodge, Chrysler Plymouth Dodge product. But getting back to the Nash Rambler, the Nash Rambler was the smallest vehicle made by the Nash Motor Corporation at the time. And so this guy is talking about an incident where he was challenged. The Cadillac was challenged by this little Nash Rambler behind him. And so if you listen to the lyrics of the song, you'll be amazed at how interesting it is, because the Nash Rambler wound up at speeds in excess of 120 miles an hour. He yelled out to the Cadillac driver. Now this is all, of course, very fantasy, a lot of full of fancy, because you're driving 120 miles an hour. You won't do too much communicating with a different car at that speed. But anyhow, the way the lyrics went was that the Nash Ramblers yelled at the Cadillac driver while he was passing him, "Hey buddy, how can I get my car out of second gear?" He hadn't even gotten second gear, and the Cadillac couldn't keep up with him. So it's a tremendous song and a lot of fun just listening to it. And of course it was extremely popular during the 50s and 60s at the beginning of drag racing, because everybody was preoccupied with drag racing. You pull up to a stop sign and somebody wants to drag race you. And I made reference earlier to the commercials. And of course, Mopar is Chrysler cars. Dodges, Plymouths, Chryslers, those are known as Mopar, Chrysler Motor Corporation. And the most popular engine probably during the 50s and 60s was the Hemi. The Hemi was supposed to be so powerful that no car could challenge it. And you recall the commercial where the guy pulled up beside the car next to him, and he kind of suspected that the car that was next to him had a Hemi engine. He said, and he rolled his window down and asked the guy, "Hey buddy, does that have a Hemi?" And the response was in the commercial, "You're about to find out." Now that's classic, because then of course the Hemi took off and just dominated the competition between those two. So this race between the Nash Rambler and a big four-door Cadillac, probably a Cadillac Eldorado or Sedan DeVille, Cadillac's largest car. And this guy was very proud of his car, very most expensive car probably on the highway. So this was a classic song that highlighted racing during the 50s and 60s. And I think if everyone listens to it carefully, you'd be amazed at how entertaining it is.
So, but did your family drag race?
Now, as far as the Pages, yes, that's another story. I say my family, basically my brother, who had a body and fender repair shop, he got heavily involved in racing, and the racing was usually centered around drag strips where people went on weekends to race their cars legally. But the competition that I remember most clearly was a competition between two of the body shop hangers-on. that were actually into low-level crime, but so that's how they financed their passion, their interest, their hobby. But anyhow, by and by, there was talk about which car was faster, the new Chevrolets, or Ford. Ford held a record for years until it's pretty soon competitors came along with the improvements in the Dodge Mopar vehicles, Dodge, Plymouth, Chryslers, and also Mercury, which was the largest size Ford Motor Corporation Ford. So it was decided that since we had a new turnpike between Tulsa and Oklahoma City, I may have chronicled this on previous discussions, but they had this 100-mile turnpike, 99 miles from gate to gate, from the Tulsa outskirts of Tulsa to the entry into Oklahoma City was 99 miles. So without stop, of course, you just had roadside stands for food and for service station and so forth, but you could travel 100 miles and never have to stop. And so they decided to have this race between a Chevrolet and a Ford product on the Turner Turnpike. These guys had just recently bought with stolen money.
So we'll hear more about my dad's drag racing exploits in Tulsa, Oklahoma in our future episode. Thank you for watching.